Brothers and sisters, my name is Charles Rachlis. I am a candidate for Vice President of CAPS, California Association of Professional Scientists. I work at the Richmond Laboratories as an industrial hygienist assigned to the laboratories. I joined CAPS in 2008 when I was first assigned to the Childhood Lead Poisoning Prevention Branch, and after a few months I decided to call up the union and find out what exactly is going on, because we were going into what has now become a double-dip recession, possibly a depression, and I was concerned about what kind of representation I was getting, what were the plans that our organization was making to face the upcoming austerities, which I was pretty sure were about to be imposed on us. When I called the CAPS office, I spoke to a man named Matt Austin, and I asked him, when is the next CAPS meeting? I'm a new member and I'd like to be involved. He said to me at that time, we don't have anything to report to you yet. When we do, we will call a meeting. I was new to the organization and a little confused by that, because I had been in trade unions before, and indeed they had regular membership meetings. In fact, CAPS is organized as a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation which operates under California Corporate Code 8330 to 8338, paragraph E, and it calls for also in 7550 regular annual membership, not annual, but regular membership meetings. That's left up to the organization. Well, I was wondering what we were going to do, and before long, it wasn't long before we had our first furloughs announced, so I decided to go to the meetings that were held. Indeed, they were held, and what I found out slowly, but not quite quickly, was that they were informational meetings, not regular membership meetings, and we'll talk about that difference in a little bit. So I went to this informational meeting. They were held in the Bay Area. I went to one at DTSC and one at the Department of Public Health, and Matt Austin, I believe, was there. Dave Miller might have been there. I didn't know the players at the time. And I remember Chris Rogers was there from Department of Public Health. And they were presenting the issue of the furloughs, that indeed we would have one furlough day a month. And I raised my hand and said, well, what are we going to do about the furloughs? And they said, we're going to go to court. And again, I raised my hand and I said, you know, knowing that the courts don't usually favor labor, what makes you think that we're going to win in court? Oh, no, it's illegal. And I agreed, yes, it's illegal. And we're going to win in court. And I said, well, I don't think we're going to win in court. And they said, no, we're going to win in court. And I said, well, what if we lose in court and they impose more furlough days? Oh, no, that's not going to happen. Well, we all know the history now. We lost some 70 days to furloughs. 2 years we were on furloughs, 3 days a week, 14% pay. And when we finally got invited back, we still have, it's not a furlough anymore because now we have a signed contract calling it a personal leave day, but we have increased payment into our pension, increased payment into our medical, and our checks are basically lower than they were when the furloughs started. Well, this was the imposition of the austerity that was planned back in 2008 as the states came crashing down around the economy. Well, CAPS leadership, under the guidance of Blanning and Baker, whose staff are offices, which we don't really have offices. We rent space, or don't even rent space. We occupy space in Blanning and Baker's offices. CAPS staff and executive directors guide the board, and guide the board in a dead-end direction. But there's no place for the membership to actually discuss this. The only thing that the board, under the guidance of Blanning and Baker, which also guides PEGS and another couple of organizations, is to continue to give our money to the lobbyists and to the politicians. We put $500,000 into the 2010 election cycle, and we didn't really get anything for it. In fact, we kind of got spit in the face. They put the money there, and they put the money into these useless lawsuits that they invariably lose. They lost the pay parity lawsuit. They lost the furloughs lawsuit. We still haven't seen a dime of the lost money from the 2 stolen holidays. They're not producing. Now, if you look at your paycheck and where we should be based on the last 10 years' growth of consumer price index, compare that to your income, where's the COLAs? We're about 18% behind where we should be. Well, this is based on I call it a business unionism or corporate unionism strategy, a strategy that basically ties us to the politicians, ties us to the legal system, and doesn't have any role for independent workers' action. Our membership is demobilized, demoralized, and has no basic role. It's been atomized and has no basic role in running the organization, which is why I decided to run for office. Because if there were regular membership meetings, we could have gotten up at the regular membership meeting, raised our hand, and said, I think we should initiate a discussion of strategy and tactics because the foregoing period has been a grand colossal failure. And maybe members would say, yes, let's have a discussion of strategy and tactics. But because we have not had a regular membership meeting as designated in the 2007 bylaws for over 10 years, the members do not have a way to reach each other and to discuss with each other. This is a denial of the democratic rights of an organization and of the membership. And indeed, there are very few or practically no unions out there that operate in this manner. This is basically the most undemocratic union in the United States. And that's exactly how Blanning and Baker want it to be, because all of our money flows through them to their favorite politicians, to their staff, and basically they've turned a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation into a profit-making center for Blanning and Baker, and they don't have to deliver anything to us for that. That's why our caucus, the CAPS Fighting Union Caucus of Charles Rachlis for Vice President, Will Wright for President, and Giorgio Cosentino for Treasurer are running. We're running to expose the undemocratic situation in CAPS, to initiate discussion of strategy and tactics, to address the conditions that we're in, to change the nature of our organization from a profit center for Blanning and Baker Corporation into one that fights for the interests of its membership and the scientists in it. We will be presenting a number of these discussions in the days leading up to the election, and we hope that you consider us seriously in this ballot, which you should receive on October 3rd or October 4th. Just a few final points. Many members are not clear about the difference between the informational meetings and an annual or a regular meeting. A regular meeting, as is described both in corporate code and in the bylaws, is a place for the membership to address union business. This is specifically important because we need to be able to speak to the entire membership. In our next discussion, we will talk about how our attempts to reach the membership have been squashed by Blanning and Baker Corporation so that we cannot expose the fact that they're taking our money and delivering us nothing. They've made it impossible to reach most of the members. If you're getting this email notice to watch this video, you're one of the few who we've been able to figure out your email address. And the ballot that you receive next week will have a censored statement from all of our candidates. Thank you very much.